next 6 to 36 months of the technology revolution. He specialises in helping customers understand the implications of and helping to implement cutting-edge and future technologies and business practices. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Stevens.
So today, I've got a bit of a talk. Actually, I love Kevin's talk there because it's a bit about the future. And my talk today is about sort of the cloud ISP and being able to use a lot of the infrastructure that is starting to develop at the moment. So what am I talking about today? I'm talking about a little bit about my journey. It's going to be very brief. The future of ISP infrastructure for some. Virtual cross-connect fabrics. If you don't know what that is it's things like Megaport, PACnet-enabled networks. Yesterday, Equinix launched their cloud infrastructure product and things like that. So what that enables is people to do on-demand fabric. So it's no longer requiring to wait 6 weeks for fibre to be installed, or I've got a circuit that Telstra is running up for me, and it's like they give you a date of like 6 to 8 weeks, and now it's on demand within 60 seconds. Capacity into the gigs, if not tens of gigs of capacity, to be able to do that on demand. So the cloudification of infrastructure, everything from servers, virtual machines, getting away from the actual tin side of the world. Now, this talk today is conceptual to the point that probably about 60–70% I can do, and there are certain other parts that the glue is still working together to get us there. So what I do is I design and build and operate networks. Everything from ISPs to data centers, banks, you name it, across the whole region. Kevin actually brought up one of my customers. Due to this, everything that he just talked about and the amount of sheer volume of data, my team is currently on the Harbour Bridge pulling out the entire network infrastructure and upgrading that to be 100 times the capacity. So that's one of the things I do day to day, is design that sort of architecture. So I'm always constantly trying to figure out creative ways to disrupt the industry by reusing and using network infrastructure in different ways. I get my buzz by helping the smaller guys be nimble and quick and take on the big guys, like the Telstras and anyone else. And I don't really care who, it's more about being able to be dynamic. So things like, I designed and architected the whole Hoyts digital cinema network. I turned Hoyts actually into their own little corporate ISP. They were able to wholesale buy tails from multiple providers, transit, cross-connects, fibre, dark fibre, without actually having to go with a single provider anymore. Those are the sort of things I build. Now, it's not personal. I just need to do things faster than a lot of the carriers want to do things these days. So how I got here, I was around in the internet in the early sort of 90s when it was turned on. Worked with the first Telstra non-ISPs, pre-broadband, dial-up, all that sort of things. I built TechX, which was one of the first gold partners of Request DSL back in the day when they had premium DSL. And I built United IP, which was the first aggregators before the likes of iSeeks and a few others. So to date, I've built about 300 boutique, small, nimble ISPs. So the concept is the cloud ISP. It's not a cloud provider, nothing to do with the cloud and delivering the cloud to people or using the cloud. It's not a reseller of the cloud itself. It's not the old term VISP where you used to go to someone like Telstra, Request, many other players and just resell their infrastructure. This is a real multi-carrier, self-managed, elastic infrastructure. I hate the fact that IaaS has been stolen and misused, but it's an elastic infrastructure for internet service providers. Now, this is almost doable, and I've got some prototypes that I'm running today that use certain elements of this. So why do this? Why build this sort of thing into the cloud? Rapid deployments of an ISP. Like a lot of people would know how long it takes to build an ISP. But managing being able to build an ISP that could take NBN tails and a variety of other things and have that running in 3 days, or less, depending on if this kind of concept integrates with someone like Digit, who will be able to do automated provisioning and bring those sort of things online really quickly. So there's a lot of slow things. The problem is the world. There's too much physicalness. Sometimes I'll order a bit of Cisco or Juniper or Brocade equipment and it's like 6 weeks to come. And these days I can spin up Cisco cloud services routers and I can worry about the licensing later. I'll get 30 days free and things like that. Equipment failures, far less. Scalable capacity without worrying about the upgrades. I can just spin up my Amazon instances to be much faster and much more powerful. Highly redundant, multi-cloud, multi-fabric regions, availability zones. Minimising the business risk. And spinning up an ISP and in a month only having spent $1,000 on cloud computing time and bought nothing real. Elastic infrastructure, just pay for what you need when you need it. Global reach. So this concept that I'm talking about, the cloud ISP, the diagram I'll show you in a minute, there's no reason you couldn't copy and paste this into Singapore, Hong Kong, and a variety of other places which have places like data centers like Equinix, NextDC, Megaport, Azure, AWS, just some local tails. It's a little bit of a different look and feel. So these are sort of the parts that we're working with. Some of the parts exist, some of the parts are a little more conceptual. So Cisco CSR 1000V, I love it. I love being able to just spin up the routers, pay by the hour, what I need, when I need it. Cisco just announced that the LNS functionality is available and I've been playing with that. Doesn't quite work exactly how I want it, but it's going to be getting there soon. There's a lot of what we call AMIs in Amazon Machine Images. A lot of the vendors have virtualized their appliances and turn those into things that I can just go point, click, running in 60 seconds. Bring my own license, use their license, pay by the hour. Absolutely love this. This is my favorite part of building infrastructure at the moment. So I'm waiting for things like the Cisco VASA to head into the cloud side, Juniper's Firefly, those kind of things. Cloud providers, AWS and Azure Online in Sydney, SoftLayer is just hitting here, Google Compute, bit of a strange platform. Cisco Intercloud, I'd love someone to explain to me what that actually is. A lot of people seem to be taking it up, distributors and everything else like that. I've read 10 papers on it and I'm still trying to figure out what it is. But I have high hopes for it. VXC fabrics, those are taking off really well. Megaport is across the east coast of Australia. PACnet is across, I think it's 10 countries, 18 cities. Equinix Cloud Exchange, Jeremy announced that yesterday. That's across, I'm assuming it's going to go to all the 101 or 102 data centers worldwide. NextGen, we're still waiting for them to actually announce what they said was coming a while ago. And data center cross connects, that's the big part of it, whether that be physical or virtual. So these are the things that you can buy today on virtual cross-connect fabrics. Transit, tails, so Metro Ethernet, anything NBN tails from people like iSeek, wholesalers, iSeek, Opticom, and those people that have got hundreds of thousands of homes and estates and businesses online. International circuits, NTT, PACnet, Optus, Tata, I can have tails in lots of parts of the world very quickly, very easily. DOS protection for people like Micro21, being able to feed your data down to from interstate or into cities, have it cleaned and sent back to you. And a lot of the other things there. Wholesale value add, that's one of the next revolutions that's starting to hit right now. Wholesale value add is going to be everything from content, so the wholesale, with people like Streamco, which is Fairfax and Channel 9, trying to fight back against Netflix. You've got Netflix themselves, you've got QuickFlix, people doing a lot of the video content. There's going to be people doing anything that is essentially multi-tenantable, wholesale, so video conferencing platforms, VPN as a service, all those kinds of things. These are all value adds that as long as you can buy it layer 2, you can then deliver it to your customers. So the cross connects are the glue that bring this together. So in the virtual cross connect world, Megaport's one of the best examples. They are speed agnostic, which I really love. So you can take a 10, 40 gig or 100 gig connection into them, and they charge you across the city. So let's say in Sydney, it's global switch to Equinix. It's $200 a month. And they don't care if you spin that up at 1 meg, 2 meg, 10 meg, 5 gig, 10 gig for that VLAN. They charge you the same. $200 a month, $20 a day. Completely agnostic, don't care about how much you're downloading. So those are the kind of things. Mega Direct is a great little add-on that allows you to get into the real world. And I use those, I've already started using those extensively to get to tower providers that aren't on Megaport or a cross-connected fabric yet, where I Ethernet across into them, take it into the fabric, and then deliver it where I want to be on my infrastructure. IX Australia is now offering VXCs. Equinix will be doing the same thing with their cloud product as well. So brokering, this is a new thing that I'm trying to push because it's really in my interest. But it's also, the fabric providers realise it's actually in their interest too, because most of them make money off the VXCs. So I'm looking at, rather than having just a pipe and doing cross connects between those two pipes, being a sort of a broker in the middle and actually going, I want to connect something from, let's say, Opticom to AWS, and actually just having those talk to each other without having it go through my infrastructure. This is how I get to the point of being able to have an ISP with no hardware.
So this is what it looks like, the cloud ISP. The whole point of the cloud ISP is to remove hardware and the reliance on it. The glue are the virtual cross-connect fabrics. So in this example, I'm using Megaport, and you'll see here that it's Megaport as they connect to Amazon. They also connect to Azure, and they will also be connecting to other fabrics like Cisco's Intercloud and others as they come along. So in this example, you'll see that I have, say, Big Air Wireless, wholesale handoffs of tails going directly through the Megaport, cross-connected into Amazon. I've got Opticom NBN, iSeek DSL tails and NBN, cross-connected straight through, first path VDSL and fiber directly across into Amazon or straight into Azure. The actual VLANs between the wholesale cloud providers doesn't really make much of a difference. It can go from anywhere to anywhere. You'll see that in Amazon, we've got virtual machines like LNSs, carrier grade NAT boxes, routers, firewalls, servers, remote desktops, all of which can be hosted on either Amazon or Azure or any other fabric provider and the machine images that they deliver. You'll see that we've taken Vocus Transit, Telstra Transit. Those dotted lines, what that represents is using a Mega Direct product, which is for those on Megaport, to get to those people who are not on Megaport. They can arrange a physical cross-connect into the actual service. So even though people are not on Megaport, you can still get to them anyway. Should I actually need any equipment, any specific resources that in my solution that I might require, that anyone else that is on Megaport that might have equipment that on the fabric that I can use some of their capacity, such as so VRFs on some routers, some core routers, or some switching, some MPLS capabilities, then I could always put cross connects over into their fabric and then take another VXC straight back into my fabric or cross connect it to anywhere else. The whole point of the cloud ISP is to buy what you need when you need it, and without having huge capex outlays. Here you go on an OPEX basis, and what this allows you to do is to spin up very quickly at absolutely minimum costs without major delivery timeframes and a whole bunch of other things that relate to sort of these facilities and these sort of hardwares. And a lot of in the cloud ISPs, you're going to be able to pay on demand, you're going to be able to bring your own license, or pay, as I said, just pay on demand and on an hourly rate basis. So that's the cloud ISP and what it looks like.
So why should you care? If you're not selling via cross-connect fabrics at the moment, your competition will be. There are already people delivering a lot of tails. Ease of migration from you to someone else. Being able to move it, so kind of like the number portability. When you've got infrastructure that is no longer hardlined, that you can move it from one carrier to another carrier very quickly, you're going to have to fight to keep your customers and give good value for that. The hardware vendors are moving. A lot of the people, Cisco and Juniper, everyone's starting to virtualize their equipment, which is fantastic. You can ignore it, but everyone else, a lot of people are servicing the market. People will still buy your tails, Telstra, Optus, a few others that aren't doing it, but you're going to lose all your value-add profit that sits on top of it. Because I'll be able to buy your raw tails because you have to sell it to me. It's part of the government and regulatory framework, the wholesale side. You've still got to give it to me. I just get to pretty it up and make it much nicer. And you get to sell it to me at $30 now, rather than, and then I get to sell it for $500, and I've got all the value add. So the enterprises are starting to buy. I've already put a few companies like people like Reckitt, and where they actually are on Megaport and buying services across the infrastructure. And that's one of the big things Jeremy talked about yesterday was, this is not just, today's talk is just about ISPs, but I'm a big proponent of corporates getting on here. Buy one dark fibre, 10 gig or light that up higher, and then being able to buy anything you need over that fabric. Whoever's on that fabric, instant, on demand, capacity for almost any service you can imagine. You want 10 petabytes of storage sitting over in someone who's connected to the fabric like EMC, and they just hire you space. On Fridays, you bring up your virtual cross connects, dump petabytes of data, bring them down. They suddenly don't give you a good price on storage, you just move it to somebody else. All virtualized. So what doesn't work here? Machine images are still coming, I'm still waiting for more. Amazon, dealing with Amazon was interesting. They don't kind of do exactly the things I want inside their VPCs and the way their networking works, but they are very interested in what we're trying to achieve. I met with them yesterday, explained it to them, and they were, this could be very interesting. They're taking it to their team to try and figure out how we can do kind of virtual LANs inside these areas where we build our own networks, you know, true elastic infrastructure. Licensing from vendors could be nicer. Some of the hourly rates stack up, but you can, if you bought the hardware, your hourly rates will burn out in a year, but in the hardware it's normally written off over 3 years. So, but Google seems to be the great guys dragging that down at the moment, the pricing down. That's on the compute side. I'd like to see the vendors and their licensing side bringing some of that down. The cloud providers, internal, as I've just said, that need a bit of developing. I'm still investigating SoftLayer, Azure, and some of their functionality at the moment. Interconnection pricing from a data perspective. Amazon still charges for data volume across their cross-connect from their fabric into you. I have no idea why. You know, anyone that still charges for volume these days really has no clue. We're at high capacity. You need to be doing what Megaport does, whether it's 1 meg or 10 gig, they just don't care how much. And I don't know how it really affect Amazon or the other players about how much data goes into your fabric. It's about how much resources you consume for the most part. Terminology is a pain. It took me weeks to try and figure out how to understand exactly how Amazon did everything. Every vendor, big player, comes out and calls the same thing a different thing. You know, port channeling over here, it's Ethernet channeling over here, it's aggregated Ethernet over here, it's all the same bloody thing. I wish there was a bit more standardization, because each time a professional, a network engineer like me has to go and learn a new fabric or a new infrastructure, it's 90% the same. It's just, what do they call it here? And that's just a bit frustrating. So, and at the moment, there's no dummy's guide to doing any of this. There's no even post to the Cisco mailing list, the Juniper mailing lists, or talk to the Amazon mailing list, because 99% of people out there are going, what you're doing is so cutting edge. You know, and so that's been one of the bit of the struggles. So over the next 24 months, there's going to be more cloud ISPs. The cloud ISPs are going to start to appear. I've just built one at the moment, which is just pure network infrastructure. Direct connect to AWS over Megaport. 15 servers, mail servers, DNS servers, web servers, NetFlow servers, DSP, everything in the cloud. No, so only, and this is the first ISP I've ever taken a half a rack. So it's just purely networking equipment. Everything's virtualized. I'm looking forward to, and I think maybe 6 to 9, maybe 12 months away, my first ISP, and I'm probably in the next one of the future conferences I'll be talking about, I've done it. The first ISP with nothing, just on demand. But still paying all the same vendors, still paying Cisco, still paying Juniper, still paying the cloud providers, just on demand as we need it. So more fabrics, I'm expecting more to come, and more players. The marketplace is going to develop, there's going to be so much services, new creative infrastructure going on, that it's going to turn into like, you know, bazaars, like Vic Markets, Paddy's Markets, where you go down and go, what's on offer? What have people got to sell us? A lot more wholesale products, with value-added products making all the difference. What have you got to sell me? You know? Fabric interconnections, that's what one of the things I'm really busting for. I've been talking to the guys going, okay, so Megaport and Equinix and IX Australia, how about allowing me to do a VXC, or virtual cross connect, through fabrics, having sort of a brokering way and things like that. You know, it's almost like a layer 2 internet, a new way of doing things. So that's what I'm seeing happening in the next 24 months and the basis of cloud ISP.